the 2024 NFL season ending and the playoffs beginning, I figured I would make a playoff prediction since I got nothing else to root for. Now, which of these 12 NFL teams will make it to the divisional round, and will any of them make the Super Bowl? Well, let's find out with these probably bad predictions, but before I start predicting, please drop a like and sub. I'm trying to grow this channel, so any bit helps. But anyway, on to the first game. So I'm going to start on the AFC side of the bracket first. For the first game of the playoffs, we will start with the Chargers and Texans. The Texans have not played up to their expectations, to my amusement. They started off pretty strong, going 5-1 at the start of the year. Since then, they've been pretty mediocre. Injuries have hurt them on the O-line and the offense as a whole, while CJ Stroud has not been the top QB he was billed as. Meanwhile, the Chargers have seen a resurgence under Jim Harbaugh. They have a star receiver in Ladd McConkey, Justin Herbert has had a solid season, and their defense has been really good this season. Their defense is actually number 1 in points allowed this season with just 17.7 points per game. Though when the Chargers last faced an AFC South team in the wildcard round, it didn't go too well for them. Though this time, it's a pretty cold Texans team who hasn't beaten one playoff team all year, so give me the Chargers in a close game. Both teams are perennial playoff teams, but are on very different tiers. The Steelers have relied on their defense and occasional good play from Russell Wilson to win some games, while the Ravens have an MVP candidate in Lamar Jackson with a pretty solid defense too. It also helps when Derrick Henry turned back the clock a little bit and had his best year since 2020. The Ravens have been red hot, winning their last 4 games while scoring 30 plus points in each of them. Meanwhile, the Steelers are freezing cold, losing their last 4 games, scoring less than 20 points in all of them. Usually NFC North games are hard-fought, close games, but the last time these two teams met, it was a beatdown by the Ravens. Wouldn't be surprised if it ended up close, but I really don't think it will be. Give me the Ravens with a comfortable win. The last AFC matchup of wildcard weekend. And honestly, the least interesting. Bo Nix has had a surprisingly good rookie season, and this led the Broncos to their first playoff berth since they won the Super Bowl in 2015. Though the Broncos haven't really beaten anyone. Other than the Chiefs' backups, their last victory over a playoff team was against the Buccaneers in Week 3. Though they have played their division tough, they didn't win a single game against the playoff teams in their division. No, I will not count their win against the Chiefs' backups. It was basically a preseason game. Meanwhile, the Bills have played really strong opponents and have hung up a ton of points on each of them. They have beaten both the number 1 seeds, the Chiefs and the Lions. And in their last 4 games with their starters, they have hung 40 plus in 3 of them. Congrats on the Broncos making it this far, but they won't make it much further. Give me the Bills in a blowout. Our first NFC matchup for Wild Card Weekend. Both are strong teams coming into the playoffs. However, the Packers are coming into this game with no momentum. They lost their last 2 games against the Vikings and Bears. Though the Bears' loss shouldn't be of any significance since they rested their starters. Wait, what do you mean they didn't? They lost Christian Watson for the playoffs and Jordan Love hurt his throwing hand? Why were they playing the starters in a meaningless game? At least the Eagles got the memo and rested their starters, even though it cost Saquon the rushing record. Speaking of Saquon, he's carried this offense. Getting 2,000 rushing yards in a season is a ridiculous feat, and he did it in 16 games. Look what happens when you give an elite running back an offensive line. The Packers also have a running back that has also appreciated the change in scenery. Josh Jacobs has had a pretty good season too, though I'm afraid his season will end here. Give me the Eagles in a run-heavy game since both of these QBs are hurt. A rematch of Week 1 where the Buccaneers stomped the Commanders. But coming into this playoff matchup, both teams have good offenses and okay defenses. The Commanders are an exciting team to watch in the 4th quarter with multiple thrillers this season. They are hot coming into this game with a 5-game winning streak, including a win over the Eagles. The Bucs are also coming into this game hot. After going on a 4-game losing streak in the middle of the season, they won 6 of their last 7 games to take the division crown for the 4th straight great year. Both teams have rookies who have turned into stars. Jaden Daniels is a front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Bucky Irvin has taken the starting running back role from Rachaad White. It's also hard to ignore Baker Mayfield having a career year. This should hopefully be a very exciting game, which also makes it hard to pick. But I will be taking the Bucs here in a shootout. The last matchup of Wildcard Weekend. Two pretty solid teams, though not elite teams. The Rams took advantage of their faltering division to take the top spot. Stafford had a decent year, but the young players on offense like Kyren Williams and Puka Nacua really helped him out. The Rams certainly have some quality wins over the Bills and the very Vikings they are playing this week, but they definitely have had their lackluster performances. Fortunately, most of them are early in the year, but I still have my reservations if they can compete with the top-class NFC teams. Meanwhile, the Vikings have been the most surprising team of 2024. Many, including myself, thought this would be a retooling year after their first-round QB went down to injury. But Sam Darnold proved his doubters wrong, for at least this year, and has had his best season as a pro. Brian Flores has this team playing like a top defense in the league, and Justin Jefferson leads all NFC wide receivers in receiving yards and is top 5 in every other category. It's also kind of crazy that a 14-win team is in the 5 seed. But that's what happens when the Lions are in your division. Speaking of the Lions, the Vikings got smacked by them on Sunday, which leads me to my concerns with the Vikings. They don't have many high-quality wins. Sure, they have wins against the Packers twice and the Texans, but I don't think highly of either of those teams coming into the playoffs. The Vikings also have a long history of not doing that well in the playoffs, and I don't think that really changes this year. Give me the Rams this game. Well, that's all the games that are scheduled, but why don't we go all the way down the bracket and see who wins it all? After all, that's what the title of the video says. I'm sure these predictions will totally age like fine wine and not like milk. The two frontrunners for MVP go at it in what should hopefully be a good game. Both teams have high-flying offenses with elite dual-threat QBs. These two teams did face each other earlier in the season, but it was a beatdown. Derrick Henry torched the Bills' defense, and their offense couldn't get anything going. But this game should be nothing like that game. At least I hope not. Both of these teams have solid defenses, but I don't think they will matter in this game. It will really be who gets the ball last, and I have more faith in the Ravens to hold the ball longer with the best running game in the league. Give me the Ravens in a thriller. Okay, I have no idea how the Chiefs are 15-2 in the #1 seed in the AFC. Legitimately, they are 7 plays away from missing the playoffs entirely. This has to be the luckiest team I have ever seen. Sure, luck plays a part in the season and playoff success, but what the Chiefs have done this year is taking it to the extreme. While the Chargers are a good team, they just haven't had an answer for the Chiefs defense all season. Give me the Chiefs in a really unsatisfying game. A rematch of last year's AFC Championship. I really hope this game is as good as the season opener this year, but something tells me some Chiefs black magic will ruin it. Give me the Chiefs in a weird game. This would be a matchup I would be looking forward to. The Eagles are atop the NFC after having a late season collapse last season. The Bucs are somehow a rising team. Again, there's something about the Eagles just doesn't feel right to me. Can't really put my finger on it, but it just feels like they will end up stumbling out of the playoffs in a really stupid way. I think the Bucs take the momentum from the Commanders game and are able to pull a huge upset against a top NFC team. Their top 5 rushing defense will help them slow Saquon down enough. The Lions are rolling on all cylinders. They literally have the best offense in the league and are a top 10 defense to go along with it. There's a reason why both of their coordinators are getting head coaching offers. On a side note, Ben Johnson, please come to Jacksonville and get Trent Baalke out of the GM role. I beg of you. We need that dynamic offense here in Jacksonville and for Trevor Lawrence. So back to this game. Yeah, I think the Lions steamroll the Rams. The Rams just do not have the elite team the Lions do, which is weird to say. This would be a fun NFC championship. Both long struggling franchises that have found recent success thanks to good roster building and effective coaching. These teams actually met earlier this season and the Bucs actually ended up winning in a thrilling fourth quarter. But these two teams are on different tiers. The Lions are on a hot streak and I expect that to continue in this game, though it will be closer than many would expect. And for our Super Bowl matchup, the most dominant team this season, the Detroit Lions versus the luckiest team this century, the Kansas City Chiefs. Can the Lions prevent the Chiefs from going on a three-peat? Or will the Chiefs' lucky streak continue? This should hopefully be a very exciting matchup. The Chiefs have a top 5 defense in the league, while the Lions have the top offense in the league. These two teams haven't faced each other all season, so it's tough to say how this game will play out, but we can look at how each team played similar teams. The Chiefs have played top offenses in the Bills, Ravens, and Bengals. They are 2-1 in these games, with their only loss coming against the Bills, which wasn't that close of a game. It was a competitive first half, but the Bills pulled away in the fourth quarter. So I don't expect this to be the outcome of the Super Bowl. Jared Goff isn't the dual threat quarterback that Josh Allen is. Though the Bengals game is a little more comparable. The Chiefs managed to win off a game-winning field goal after a penalty on the Bengals. Meanwhile, the Lions basically crushed anyone that couldn't keep up with them, though the only time they scored less than 20 points, they lost. So if the Chiefs can limit the Lions' offense, they would have a good shot at winning. Or the Chiefs could beat the Bills for a game and drop 40, but I don't think they would be able to do that. If the Chiefs are at least able to keep it close in the fourth quarter, they could get a BS call to go their way and allow them to win the game. Otherwise, it would be tough to catch the Lions. And for all of our collective sanity, we would want the Lions to win. And that's what I have happening. The Lions are able to pull away and hold off the Chiefs' attempt at a comeback. So what do you guys think? Will my predictions be accurate, or will they age as well as milk? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next week.